What's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video I'm going to be reviewing and discussing 10 custom Marvel snap cards. Now, these were made by a great friend of mine, WillowSnapping. He makes loads of really cool crazy decks. I'm going to leave a link to his Twitter and YouTube down below. Definitely go check him out. But yeah, these are 10 of his custom cards. These were made, I believe, back in June 2022. I'm going to be releasing another video after this discussing more of his updated custom cards. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let's get straight into it. Okay guys, so the first card we have here is DORMAMMU. He is a 5 energy 0 power card, and he reads, on reveal, next turn play a random 6 cost card from your hand. This is a really interesting card. We haven't really seen too many things like this before. Straight off the bat, I think you could run this in any sort of like Infinite deck. Because with Infinite, you always have to skip that turn 5 in order to play Infinite. But with DORMAMMU, you basically just play an Infinite on turn 5. If he is the only 6 cost card in your hand. But I think there's a lot of potential you could do this. You could just run this in any sort of like big deck. Like even run this card in like a Lockjaw big card deck. Because if Lockjaw pulls him out, you're gonna pull a 6-drop down. I'm just kind of rereading the card. I assume, yeah, okay, so that means it pulls the 6 cost card down onto the location DORMAMMU was played at. But yeah, I think, just as I said, straight off the bat, Infinite is probably the best use for this card. Another thing you could do is, if you want to do something like on curve, you could do White Queen. If White Queen happens to copy a 6 cost card from your opponent, then the next turn you just play that for free. And again, that's if you don't have other 6 cost cards in your hand. But in general, getting a 6 cost card down is always good. On turn 5, I mean, you can cheat cards out earlier than playing big cards on turn 5, but I think it's still really good. Honestly, yeah, I'd say this is a super good card. Yeah. All right, guys. So the next card we have here is Hercules. Hercules is a 10 energy 6 power card, and he reads, this costs 1 less for each card your opponent controls. So it's a really interesting card. Straight off the bat, this seems like super powerful. I think you might need to change the stats in some sort of way, because let's say on average that your opponent has 6 cards down. This is a 4-6, which is normal stats, which is fine. But most of the time, like unless they're specifically playing a big deck, like they're gonna, I'd say on average there's probably between 6 to 8 slots filled up. So this could be a 2-6, 4-6. Actually, now that I kind of think of it like that, it's probably finely statted. I mean, you've got cards like Demon, which are like a 1-6 that come out on turn 5 or 6 or something like that. So, maybe the stats are good actually. But yeah, that's a super interesting card. I mean, they only need to have, if they have 10 cards, this is free. But you could probably put this into perspective of it being very similar to Demon without the downside of Hood. But Hood isn't even really a downside, because usually you play him in a destruction deck anyways. But yeah, I think if this card was in the game, it would see a lot of play, because like Hood already sees a lot of play. Like I think this would be like a card you could slot into nearly any deck that you just want a good amount of kind of late game power. Like if you want a little bit of a swing on a certain location, I think this is the card that you slot into your deck for sure. Super interesting. So the next card we have here is MAGGOT. He is a 2 energy 2 power card, and he reads, on reveal, infect the opponent's deck. This is a super fun card. It reminds me a lot of Mr. Negative. I could imagine that's the effect that happens. Like when you play Mr. Negative, he like inverses your deck and makes them like black and white and stuff like that. I think that's how this would look. So you play MAGGOT, some sort of like infection thing happens and infects the opponent's cards within their deck. And then it states, this gains +2 power when an affected card is played. So when they play that card, the infect doesn't do anything to their card stats, but it just gives MAGGOT an advantage. So when they play any of their cards they draw, then this card just gets +2 power. That seems like really good. The fact that MAGGOT is 2 cost and you can get this out early is super good. Like with Mr. Negative, you often want to like Psylocke and like kind of like cheat him out. But if this comes down early, your opponent's going to be like really like, okay, if I didn't have like a great starting hand, like I don't want to play, they're still going to play cards from their deck, but they don't want to play too many cards from their deck. Like this could get pretty big pretty fast. But yeah, this is one of my favorites so far. It's really, really interesting. All right, so the next card is X23. She's a 2 energy 3 power card, and she reads, on reveal, destroy the next card you play. This is like, I feel like they will 100% print a card like this very, very soon. They probably have this in development already. Not X23 specifically, but this effect is just like super useful in any sort of destroy deck at all. You know what I mean? I guess they want to think about, okay, like how, like, you don't want to make destroy so powerful. Like, destroy is probably one of the better decks in the game at the moment. But yeah, this just allows for so much to like specifically target stuff. With other cards that we've seen, leaked cards like Null and all, this just makes it like super, super interesting. The fact that you could like, I mean, the only two cards that have a actual benefit themselves when they get destroyed that I can think of is like Bucky and Nova. But if they introduce more cards that have, I guess, some sort of like death rattle effect, this is just absolutely crazy. But in general, we've seen how good Destroy is already, so this just seems super, super, super good. And the fact that like all of our Destroy effects, most of the Destroy effects so far are basically like you have to destroy a card on the location those cards were played at, you know what I mean? Like, so like a Venom or a Carnage or something like that. The only other exceptions like your Killmongers and your Shang-Chi's and stuff. But the fact that you could play this on one location instead of like when they play a pesky armor, you know, oh, well, I can just play this card somewhere else and it's going to get destroyed. You know what I mean? It's a super flexible card, like, do you know what I mean? It's low stats as well. Well, like, sorry, not low stats, low cost, which is like super good. Like, you can do it early in the game, late in the game. Again, this is one of my favorite cards from this. Again, this is super. I could see this being in the game 100%. The next card we have here is Locust. She's a 3 energy 3 power card, and she reads, for each turn you spend 0 energy, this costs 1 less. So off the bat, straight off the bat, you just slot this into your Sunspot Infinite deck, right? Like, you slot this in here, and this then becomes like a 2, 3. It's okay. It's interesting because you realistically you want this to this effect to trigger twice, so she becomes a 1/3, because a 1/3 is really good. If this is a 0/3, it's super, super good. Although when you spend 0 energy for a turn, you only tend to really do that if you either can't do anything. I guess it's good early, right? If you have this early in your hand and you play a Sunspot and you don't have a good turn 2 play, or even turn 3, I guess like realistically you could get this to a 1/3, but skipping, well, you'd have to skip 3 turns to get this to a 0/3. Let me just double check. So it's for each turn you spend 0 energy, this costs 1 less. Yeah, I guess you could also slot this in. Like, one of the leaked cards that we saw coming is She-Hulk, and I believe she has a similar effect as well to this. But I don't know, skipping like 3 turns is pretty tough. I don't know if I'm misreading this or misinterpreting it, but I guess as a 1/3 it's still pretty good, but it would more or less only be in like that type of deck with Sunspot, Infinite, She-Hulk, that type of thing. I don't know if I'm missing something, but that's the way I'm interpreting this card anyways. So the next card we have is Agent Venom. He is a 2 energy 2 power card, and he reads, when you play a card here, afflict a random enemy card with -1 power. This is a super interesting effect. Again, definitely a card I could see them printing in the future. It's just a solid effect. If you really, really want to take advantage of this card's effect, I'd say play a deck sort of like bounce. So like you play like loads of like 1-drops on the same location as Agent Venom, and then bounce them back with like Beast or Falcon or something like that. I think that could be super, super interesting. Again, like that's like to properly take advantage of Agent Venom's effect. Also, like, I guess Hulkbuster, but Hulkbuster would only be like 1 extra thing. To be honest though, like afflicting enemy, like taking -1 power from enemy cards is, if you can build it up enough, it's pretty impactful. It's kind of like, this is like kind of like a mini Spider-Woman, which is really cool, because Spider-Woman's an awesome card. But yeah, I overall, I think this card is again a card that you could just slot into a deck. Not like crazy power level, but definitely a playable card for sure. Like I said, I think would fit into the bounce deck the most, for sure. Okay, so the next card we have here is Bombshell. She is, okay, this is another two cost cards. I love the cheap cards, man. They're so interesting. She's a 2 energy 2 power card, and she reads, when this location is changed, double this card's power. Now, this is really interesting. We've seen the potential that doubling a card's power can have. So you got your cards like Deadpool, got your cards like Black Panther. So like with Black Panther, we've seen the stuff with Arnim Zola, where like you play a Black Panther and it shifts. It's there's some nutty things you can do when doubling a card's power is an effect. There's a lot of things you can do, and there's a good few cards in the game that can change locations, as well as locations that can change locations. So like off the top of my head, you've got stuff like Westview. You've got what's the one that ruins the location? Los Diablos Base. You've got the one, oh, I can't think of it at the moment, but the one that like after turn 4 it swaps the position of the locations. And then in terms of cards, you've got stuff like Scarlet Witch. You've got stuff like what am I thinking of? Storm. You've got Magic. Quake. You could actually use, I say this sounds so bad because Quake isn't played that much at the moment, but you could actually use Quake in this deck. Like even getting this to 8 power, which is only swapping locations twice. So realistically, maybe playing a Scarlet Witch, because you wouldn't want to like continuously purposely change the location. So I think the perfect card you would run the perfect card to pair with this is Scarlet Witch, that you just change the location once, and then maybe something like Quake. Even if those two cards and getting this to 8 power is like super huge. So yeah, again, another great card design. Yeah, I'm loving these so far. All right, so the next card we have here is Mockingbird. She is a 4 energy 4 power card, and she reads, on reveal, play a card here from your hand that didn't start in your deck. This is super interesting, actually. There's a couple things you could do with this card. Again, off the top of my head, a card that's on my mind a lot is just White Queen at the moment. I know a lot of you guys in the last video, I said that White Queen was bad in my last video. She's not a bad card. She's just not seen a lot in the pool 3. In the kind of games I'm playing regularly, she's just not really seen too much. But yeah, no, I think you could play White Queen with this card. So you play White Queen and then you play Mockingbird, because White Queen takes a big card, so 5-6 cost. And then Mockingbird just pulls that out. Like, that just seems super good. Another combo you could do with this card is like, it would have to be very specific if you wanted to pull out a specific card, but like run it in a deck with like Moon Girl. So like you could copy again those type of Moon Girl Devil Dino decks. Actually, Mockingbird is the card that you just slot in there, right? Like it just pulls out like one random card that you copied in your hand, which is just always good. I think taking something, like getting something out for free is awesome. And like the stats on this, yeah, they're not like standard, which would be like 4-6 like the Thing. But this is a really interesting card. If you guys know any other cool combos, that's just off the top of my head, if there's any other cool combos that you could do with this card, let me know. Again, like there's like bounce stuff, I guess you could do with returning stuff to your hand. Like you could get free any cards that, oh, actually like Agent, oh my god, Agent 13, Nick Fury. Yeah, there's actually a few cards that synergize with this. This is a really interesting one. Oh, I didn't actually consider that, yeah. All right, guys, so the next card we have is Bug. He is a 1 energy 3 power card, and he reads, each turn, if you don't play a card here, destroy this. This is, straight off the bat, people would think, right, just put it in the destruction deck. It's just another enabler, right? But then it's kind of like, people like that would just look at this card as, right, it's literally just like a death proc, just to reduce death a little bit more. But I think it's a lot more than that. Like it's interesting because this card, if you play it on like turn 2, like oftentimes, like especially because like there's a lot of cards in the game like Green Goblin or like Debris and stuff like that, that your location can get clogged up pretty fast. Obviously depending on the deck you face, but like, oftentimes it can get clogged up pretty fast, and you're left with like bad cards. Like if you time this correctly, I can maybe compare this to like Nightcrawler, because like Nightcrawler can pull out of a location, make you play something a lot bigger kind of in the late game. So depending on how you play around this card, like how many times you continuously play cards on the location that Bug is at, there's a lot of flexibility that this card offers. Obviously you can just go the destroy route, that's pretty good, but the fact that it has another kind of option is really interesting. Yeah, again, yeah, probably compare this to Nightcrawler, but that's again a really interesting design. And finishing it off with the final card, we have Spider-Ham. He is a 4 energy 10 power card, and he reads, on reveal, replace your hand and deck with copies of POW. Now POW is simply a 0 energy -1 card that has no ability. So there's a lot of things you could do with this card. straight off the bat, the best thing is probably just play it in a 0 deck, right? You play this in a... This is like probably one of the better targets for a 0 deck. You could also maybe run this in a sort of like Patriot deck, but the thing is you'd have to kind of guarantee that you draw Patriot early on. I mean, also you could just wait till the end of the game. Actually, oh wow, I didn't even think about that. You wait till the end of the... If you wait till the end of the game, this is just a 4-10. I thought it was a little bit worse than it actually was, but no, this seems really interesting. I actually don't... Yeah, okay, I take that back. I don't ever see a world where you play this to take advantage of it with Patriot. I think this is a card you just like slam down at the end. This actually seems really strong. I don't know if I change this in any way, because I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but America Chavez, before she was 9 power, she was a 6 energy 10 power card, and they changed her within beta because I think they changed her in beta because of like the Jubilee thing. Jubilee used to pull the top card in your deck, but yeah, playing a 4 energy 10 power card at the end of the game is... It's okay, it's good, but like you probably just play a 6 cost that's better, right? Yeah, wow, this is a great card to end on. The super... Wow, man, yeah. I'd love to know your guys' opinions on these cards. Let me know down in the comment section below if you think I missed any like cool synergies that you could do with some of these cards. I will be having some more videos coming very, very soon. Some more custom card reviews. If you enjoy these, definitely give this a thumbs up. And I'm also going to be discussing more leaked cards as well, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Greatly appreciate all the support recently. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.